Hi, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Wednesday, October the 15th. Start with an interesting report from Arkansas Advocates for Children and Families. You know, there are not many lobbyists for just average people in Arkansas. Corporations have most of the lobbyists out there, but one of them that looks after families in Arkansas is Arkansas Advocates. They issued a report today that's of some interest. They said that by 2022, tax legislation that was passed in the 2019 legislative session will end up costing the state money. That is, they imposed the sales tax on internet sales, which will produce about $35 million extra a year. But at the same time, they cut corporate income taxes in a number of ways, particularly with a big cut in the top bracket from 6.2 to 5.9% of corporate income. Well, in about a year and a half, 2 years' time, all that's going to come due, and the state's going to have less money to spend. You might think that's a good deal. Public schools might not. The highway department, which gets some sales tax revenue, and might not. Other agencies that get revenue might not as well. These are public services after all. Well, Arkansas Advocates has a simple solution to this, and that's do what 27 other states do and require corporations to file combined income tax reporting for all their state affiliates. What a lot of them do is to split it up among the states and write off losses one place against gains elsewhere. Walmart alone saves $350 million a year by not being required to do combined accounting in a number of states, including Arkansas. So that's a fix, something to think about. Here's another money issue. Remember Michael Morton, the Fort Smith nursing home owner, who was at the core of a huge scandal because of campaign contributions to judicial candidates in 2014. A judge in Conway is serving a federal prison sentence for taking campaign contributions that originated with Morton and were arranged by Gilbert Baker. He says he's viewed them as a bribe to lower the jury's verdict against the Morton nursing home in a negligence case. Baker is awaiting trial in the same bribery case. Morton has not been charged, says he intended no quid pro quo, said he only tried to elect good judicial candidates. Well, he's back at it again this year. There's a candidate for circuit judge who filed a campaign finance report this week from Fort Smith, Greg Magnus. He reported raising $29,000 in the first reporting period. After $10,000 from family money, 70% of the rest of the money came from Michael Morton and affiliates of his nursing home empire. So Morton apparently has no compunction about holding back his judicial. After all, what does he have to hide? Just electing good judicial candidates. We'll keep watching for other ones. Up in Jonesboro, the city council heard some pretty unhappy words yesterday from people who participated in a so-called unity coalition about naming a street in Jonesboro for Martin Luther King Jr., the slain civil rights leader. There was a huge community reaction. Racist, an NAACP member called it, against naming one street for King. So they tried to come up with another solution. They picked a new Eastern Arterial Commerce Drive to name for King, except they really don't want to name it for King. The existing portion of the street will still be Commerce. Any new portions built in later time, maybe it'll be named King. Maybe they'll name an overpass after him or something like that. Well, African-American members of the community aren't too happy about it. The first ordinance was read last night. They don't have a final decision on it yet. Another item on campaign financing, a small one. Celeste Williams, who lives near Bella Vista, is running as a Democrat for 3rd District Congress against Steve Womack, the incumbent Republican. It's an uphill climb, to put it mildly. She reports a historic first campaign report of $62,000 raised, the most for a Democrat in the first quarter for a long time. She said nearly came all from very small contributors, hundreds of them, no PAC money whatsoever. To put this in context, Steve Womack's sitting on $1.2 million, so she has a way to go. But I really like what Celeste Williams says about ending partisanship and working for the people. And she also has a wonderful capsule biography about her family life. She's got a husband, a couple of kids. What else has she got? She's got some ducks, some rabbits, some chickens, maybe some horses, and also a bearded dragon. I think she needs to get a photo of those on the web. News today in Chicago, they're on the verge of striking some 300,000 teachers because they don't have a contract. Guess what other teachers in the United States don't have a contract anymore, at least as of October 31st? That would be the teachers of the Little Rock School District, and there's a lot of talk going around about a potential strike in Little Rock because of the shabby treatment they've received at the hands of state government and Asa Hutchins' administration. Don't yet know, there hadn't been a decision made yet, but the rumbling is strong. What would the message be? That if you mistreat teachers, it's bad for everybody. that hadn't carried much weight with the State Board of Education so far. When you talk about teachers and you talk about money and you talk about union busing, you naturally think of the Walton Family Foundation, which funds a network of school choice organizations in Arkansas. I've been following and mentioning several times a series on the shadowy school choice movement by Kathy Fry, a former Democrat Gazette journalist who has a blog where she's talking about her 3 years working for the Arkansas Public School Resource Center. This is a Walton Foundation funded organization that exists primarily to lobby for charter school creation. Her article today was particularly interesting. You can find a link on Arkansas blog. It's about the extent of the lobbying done by this public school resource organization. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. Contributions to it are tax exempt as a result. They're supposed to do no partisan politicking, and only the IRS guidance on the web says that they're not supposed to be substantively devoted to lobbying. You can do a little bit, but if you do a lot, you might jeopardize your tax exempt status. Well, Kathy Fry says they do a lot of lobbying. Will this come anything? I don't know, but it gives you an idea of about how that side operates. The Little Rock City Board met last night and accepted a proposal to continue their current health insurance for employees with a 15% rate increase. History was made. For the first time, they're going to make Little Rock City employees pay something toward their health insurance. They had a really great fringe benefit before, but now they're going to have to contribute. Elsewhere, the cancer on the presidency is the big story. More details emerging about the number of people in the Trump administration that were devoting a lot of time to get Ukraine to investigate Trump's political rival, including, we now know, by White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney orchestrating a holdup of military aid to Ukraine until they delivered what Trump wanted politically. That sounds a lot like a quid and a quo to me. And there's a whole lot more on the tax front, on the politicization of the State Department and other scandals. It's not just time to resist, it's time to impeach. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.